Hey everyone. Yeah, let me straighten that out a little bit. There we go. No, I thought I'd kind of get this off my mind. I mean, I tried to talk about it before. I went a little overboard and, well, didn't really have the time to kind of fix it because, my mom came home from work and stuff. But right now, it is 11:36. I got about 28 minutes before I have to go back to my job, or at least leave to go back to my job. But I wanted to talk about this. As you know, about a month ago or so, I did what turned out to be a six-part reading of Torcha, TA's, and Fox Fiction's um, rant that they did, rant analysis, if you will, about the whole Fiona Fox situation that happened in the old continuity, if you will. Now, I know a lot of people, like MixFan 8645 will be, or 8649, will be like, look, that was the old continuity. Why don't you drop it, right? Well, yeah, people should probably drop it because that is, the past, if you will. But if you're somebody like, let's say, myself or them, and you have access to those books still, let's say you own those issues, it's gonna bring up, some questions when you go back and read them. And TA came back a little bit and wanted to kind of, I guess, add a little bit to it, kind of do a more of an analysis and everything. And, one thing he did say at the end of this analysis rant, if you will, is at the bottom of the journal. He basically stated that at least Ian Flynn, along with Aaliyah Baker, had admitted, Ian Flynn himself had admitted that he basically didn't do such a good job with the whole Fiona Fox deal, and that had he done it to the writing standards he goes by now, it probably wouldn't have happened the way it did, if not happened at all. The way I look at it, and I said this in the six-parter as well as the follow-up video to it. I basically said that I think what Ian wanted to do, and I still believe this in some ways, is he wanted to create a female antagonist. He wanted to give a female anti-hero a run, and he wanted to give the female freedom fighters from Sally, Bunny, Mina, Amy Rose, to even Julie Sue with the Chaotix. They wanted to give them a female rival that they can go against, so that it's not always boy against girl and girl against boy and da. It could be, okay, here's Sonic and Sally on one side, here's Scourge and Fiona on the other. That's basically it. And when one looks at that, one can kind of understand maybe why Ian did it. But I think at the time, you got to remember about this. Ian was not even a year into the book. Was a year into the book. He was 1 year into the book as the head writer when this happened. So maybe he had to start out. Remember, he was still like a rookie at the time. Yeah, he ghost edited and all that behind the scenes, but he was still kind of like a rookie. So he didn't really know or even understand, maybe didn't even pay attention to the previous story arcs. Because you see, with any writer, and I've said this before as well, they want, and it's not just with Archie Comics and Sonic Comics, it's with Marvel and DC and Image and IDW and all the others out there. When a new writer comes in, they sometimes want to put their stamp on the franchise. They want to put the mark on the franchise right away by saying, this is now my franchise, this is now my stories, we're going to go in a direction I feel is right, and forget everything else that's happened. Maybe that was his attitude. I can't really say it was. Neither can anybody. But any writer that's new on a book becomes the new head writer, or at least one of them, wants to put, or at least the main head writer, wants to put their stamp on that book, on those characters, on those stories. And being about a year in, maybe that's what Ian wanted to do. Not probably realizing the backlash he was going to probably get, because it's like, all of a sudden, where did this come from? It's like, okay, wait a minute. You're taking a character like Fiona, who basically, let's look at it this way, 20 issues, just about 20 issues before, admitted to Sonic that she believed him not to be she believed him not to be the kind of person that would leave her behind. That he would be the kind of person that would come back for her. That he wouldn't leave her behind. He wouldn't abandon her. He wouldn't be that kind of person, because he practically sacrificed himself for the planet. So, she believed that. And it's even mentioned in the little notes, as TA has pointed out, that she basically was the only conquest, if you will, that Scourge, posing as Sonic at that time, could not conquer. If you get my drift. So he was the only one. She was the only one. And everything she says and Sonic says in those issues from 153 and around that time frame basically indicates that not only does she forgive Sonic, but she also lets him know, she kind of shoots straight with him that, hey, if you know your best buddy, your little brother, has a crush on me, has intimate feelings for me, which I understand and accept, don't you think it's kind of stupid on your part, kind of douchey, if you will, kind of mean, backstabbing, if you will, that you would, do what you're doing, trying to get with me? Stuff like that. And when someone like, let's say, a TA or a Fox Fiction or any kind of fan sees something like that in not just a Sonic comic, but any kind of story, and then all of a sudden it's like 20 issues, maybe 20 episodes later, you get the exact opposite, like all that we heard was for naught. It really doesn't make any sense. People are practically saying, what the f*** did I just see? It's kind of like, and I know this is a strange comparison, a very strange comparison. It's kind of like with Star Trek Voyager, in that one episode called Threshold. I think it was Threshold. Basically, that episode was never mentioned, never even considered continuity anymore. And why? Because it didn't make sense. It didn't make any sense. It was one of the biggest what the fuck moments that you ever see in the show, or the franchise at all. But then, when you, and I, like I said, I know it's a strange comparison, but then when you take a look at everything else falls in line perfectly. Everything else kind of, rides off of each episode. Every episode, past, present, or past, gets referenced and acknowledged. Everything any character has said in previous episodes gets referenced, gets acknowledged. However, Threshold never did. It never did. And that's, in a way, sort of like what Sonic is. It's like everything that came before 172 was like the Threshold episode. Never got acknowledged ever again. Basically was thrown out the window. Yet everything before 172 and before 172 and after the 150s, like 153, 154, and all that, everything else was acknowledged. Everything was continuity based. But yet, people look at what happened in 172 and they're like, what was the point? It's like, why, Ian? Why would you do this? And again, like I said, I think in my opinion, he just wanted to create a female rival, a female antagonist, anti-hero that could keep the female members busy Well, Scourge was doing his own thing. Like if Scourge was dealing with Sonic, and let's say Sonic had Bunny, Fiona could keep Bunny busy. Or as we saw in the Urjack saga, Urjack Reborn saga, she can keep someone like Julie Sue busy. That was mainly, I think, the reason Ian brought her on. Brought her on as a villain. That's the only reason. That's the only reason. Now, I know some people might say, well, weren't there hints before Ian took over that, she was probably like sort of an outcast, an outsider in the group? For a while, yeah. I'm not going to deny that. I mean, when you take a look at, let's say, I don't know what part it was in the Triple Threat saga after Sonic came back after Sonic came back to Mobius a year after being in space, or as he thought it was a few weeks. In one of the issues, you have Fiona Fox grabbing a gun, grabbing a weapon, saying, "Oh yeah, this will take care of a lot of business." And you have Rhoda kind of scolding her, saying, "No, that's not how we do things. That's not how we do things." And some people might say, "Well, there should have been a clue right there," but yet that wasn't a clue. But yet, even though that might be a clue, it really wasn't. All it was, folks, was basically Fiona. To me, the Carl Bowles of Ken Penn is showing that Fiona was the kind of character that was willing to do whatever it took to get rid of Eggman, get rid of Robotnik, as he was known back then, and bring peace to the planet. She was one of those characters that was willing to do that. And some people, like I said, could point that out and say there should have been a hint there. But yeah, you take a look at all the issues that came afterwards. They still accepted her. She was still part of the team. She was, with Sonic. So basically the thing is, a lot of people look back at what Ian did in 172, and even Ian Flynn himself, and along with Aaliyah Baker, admitted that maybe it was not the best thing he'd ever done. And Ian, for you to admit that, I'll give you the thumbs up, because you know what? There's a lot of things that people will do in their rookie year as head writers of any comic or any show or any movie. They just, they think, oh, I'll do this and nobody will notice, or nobody will give a, whatever. But yet they do. So, I'll give you props for that. I really will. But anyway, the thing is, and I'll provide the link so you guys can read it yourself. The thing is, everybody has a right to their opinion. And if TA feels that Ian Flynn basically screwed up big time and just wanted an excuse to make Fiona bad, that's his opinion. But again, I believe it was just to put an anti-hero, female antagonist, whatever, rival in there for the Sonic girls to fight against. So that's all I'm really going to say on it. Let me know what you guys think down below. TA, let me know what your thoughts are in response to your journal rant analysis, if you will, and I'll talk to y'all later.